All right, welcome back, everyone. We are now very, very happy to introduce you to Karla Ballard, previously the running mate of our former interviewee, Brock Pierce. And Karla, it's so good to see you again. Everyone here at the Blockchain Center is such a huge fan.
Oh, thank you.
Most pure and beautiful souls that I've ever met. So we're so pleased to have you. And before we get started, I'd love for you to just give a quick introduction of who you are and your involvement with blockchain. And I know you have a little presentation for us, so we can get to that as well.
Okay, well, fantastic. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to be reunited with people I love and have had so many journeys with, especially in the last 6 months. So I am Karla Ballard. I'm co-founder and CEO of a company called Ying, which I'll get to in a second, but born and raised out of Philadelphia and have an interesting lineage. My fifth generation great-grandfather happened to be in banking himself, who was vice president of the United States, Aaron Burr. So it must be running through my DNA that this thing called currency and the innovation around our economic system is absolutely there. But I ended up going on to the University of Virginia and did a lot of work in the banking industry, worked for a company called MBNA America, journeyed there to diving into making change happen in our communities. I started in Wilmington, Delaware, started something called the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League, which is one of the largest civil rights organizations in the country. And then I led a movement for young professionals to get excited about what we could do to make a difference in our community. Worked with the United States Chamber of Commerce in Washington, D.C., and then eventually went on to be an appointee to the FCC. Did a lot of work with our telcos and cablecos, and then journeyed to the West, actually where I met Brock in Los Angeles, California. We're both part of a group called Summit Series. And then I worked as senior vice president of Ogilvy and Mather, helped to implement the Affordable Care Act for the entire state of California. Then journeyed and started my entrepreneurial movement, and it has been so exciting. So I am thrilled to have been just literally months ago asked to run as the vice president of the United States and take a lot of my learnings onto the independent ticket journey. And Brock and I absolutely, in our own right, won. And we won a campaign that was really focused on unity. And yes, we are so excited to welcome our new president and vice president of the United States into office. And we know that there's so much work to do. And so I am excited to be here because I think blockchain and crypto, boy, we are in for a journey of unity through that type of technology.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much. Obviously, you are just such an incredible person, and all of that certainly proves that. So without further ado, I will let you go on to your presentation, and thank you so much again for being here with us.
Oh, thank you. All right. Great. Well, hello, everyone. Hello. I hope everyone is making it through and journeying through this time that we have. We know it's definitely not anything that we signed up for, but I think in many ways, guys, we are really embarking upon something pretty incredible. So I want to share with you just some words. And I think it's important at such a time as this that we take the time to reflect. So Brock and I chose to do something revolutionary and one of the most historical elections our world has ever witnessed. And some of the most toxic energy was felt since the Civil War. And we said yes to run with other candidates, not against them, but with them, to share a message of unity and innovation. Like I said before, I really believe we won by meeting the objectives laid out with our campaign team and some of the things that we really set out to accomplish. And I have to give a major shout out right now to our campaign manager, Brittany Kaiser. I know who's a fan of the Blockchain Center, and our other incredible team members, Yiddy, of course, Nick Spanos, and our MVP, I would say, Trent Poole. And I'm so proud of the impact that we actually had. And now I'm excited to announce the next phase of this work. So as co-founder and CEO, we're setting out to democratize abundance. And you asked me earlier, why do I think blockchain and crypto is so important? I think it unifies us. The decentralization of a platform, especially around a form of value like crypto, is so key for us to finally start to realize that we all have the capacity to take part of an economic system that's going to benefit not just a few, but all of us. And so in our platform with Ying, we're a peer-to-peer skill sharing entity. And Brock and I have some really fun things to announce soon, but we're taking that model and really bringing it into the financial sector. For over 20 years, I've worked with communities around the country, from, if you're familiar with Compton and Grapevine gangs, all the way to South Side of Chicago, to Detroit, to Philly, to Florida and Miami, Liberty City. And there's one thing that I noticed across the board is there was a lack of liquidity. That lack of liquidity often caused individuals to really not be able to get things done or to even be seen and valued. So I was always excited, as somebody that had started in banking, I was excited to take this idea of currency and begin to create something that allowed for there to be another type of, beyond fiat currency, another type of value that would acknowledge a lot of the people that I worked with, that I was so passionate about, because I got to know them on a personal level and I knew their skills were far beyond what people would realize. And I was thrilled to hear when Bitcoin and blockchain started making those headlines, and thanks to folks like Nick and Brock that helped to create a campaign around the energy of economic innovation, I was excited because I knew at that moment we potentially could have a breakthrough with some of the challenges that not only in ethnically diverse communities, but I'm talking economically struggling communities, that in many cases, for the first time, we could have another form of value that was decentralized, that could allow for others to participate that had not had a chance to break through. So in working in these communities, one of the things I had a chance to tackle specifically, just to try this out, was around broadband. Because blockchain and Bitcoin weren't around at the time where we were really starting to push on bridging the digital divide. So in many ways, that had to come first so that we could have access to the internet, access to participate in this type of movement. What I ended up doing was creating something called the Broadband Opportunity Coalition, with large national organizations that represented Indigenous communities, Latino communities, and African American communities. And what was amazing is we sat with large corporations, both on the telco and the cable side, and we talked about strategies that we could deploy to really ensure our policies left room for innovation, that our corporate partners were helping to get organizations and community members that typically aren't at the table educated on what they could do to start adopting broadband. And when this movement happened, guys, it was amazing to see the number of communities that just started getting lit up. I mean, connected. Google was there. All these major Comcast, NBC, Charter, all of these organizations, AT&T, T-Mobile, said, we want to help out. What can we do to start ensuring communities were connected? Well, when I think about that now, this is the perfect time for us to launch the Digital Currency Opportunity Coalition. And so we launched it briefly on Clubhouse last week. I'm excited to announce our partnership with the Blockchain Center so that we can begin to tackle this issue very similar in a similar manner. So we're going to absolutely ask for your help. And what I mean by that is if this is of interest to you, if this area is of interest to you, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, Karla at yingme.co, Karla at yingme.co, and help us really build this coalition. Our mission is to ensure that we're able to support much of the work that you all are doing and much of the goals that you'd like to achieve on a large national scale, where you have allies coming in from some of the most vulnerable communities standing up and saying, yes, it's time for economic revolution. And we want to sit at the table. We want to sit at the table to ensure that we have the ability to start companies, the ability to really stand hand in hand with you as we're achieving goals together in this front. Now, with that said, one of the key things that we're doing starting next week is we're working with Anna. Thank you so much, Anna, for your time and your gifts to really stand up a salon for the next 6 weeks. We'll learn about the history of money. We'll learn about the history of crypto and blockchain. We'll go into understanding some of the regulations. We'll talk about, some of the things that people get really confused on. How do you even form a token? What are the latest exchanges that we need to be looking at as we're encouraging more and more people to adopt this movement? And then eventually we would love to know, what are those policies? What are those policies that are standing in the way that we can help and serve and be partners in? There's organizations, I'd say look it up. Of course, you've heard of the NAACP, the Urban League, Unidos, National Council of La Raza. There's all these amazing organizations that they're excited now to join this opportunity coalition so that we can really figure out a way forward together. Now, I have to say this, we are the revolutionaries, and it won't always feel good, but we are the generation to build the bridges, to walk the edges that push on those uncomfortable boundaries. And you are the one to take your idea and build off of this incredible movement, because together we can build an economic system that benefits our entire global humanity. Now, I have to read you this before I wrap, and then I'm more than happy to answer questions. So I'm a little bit of an oracle gal, and I'm going to announce that. And so for those of you that are not as woo-woo as I am, so just entertain me for a second. So I like to pull these cards, and this one card came up today, and it is, okay, I'm just going to show you. I wasn't going to show you, but I'm going to show you. So I'm really into crystals, and so I got malachite. Well, malachite means transformation. So I thought it was very apropos. A single seed falls in the open soil and initiates the growth of a great and magic show. It is the humble beginning of a powerful process of ongoing change. Emptiness becomes fulfillment. Light and loss become lush, reaching living gems that sprout seeds of their own. Many bands of green bejewel the forest and transform the very air to grow. One of the key things that I take from just this entire movement is that we have come for such a time as this. Those that participated in the hackathon today, those that are at the Blockchain Center, I want to send you the biggest acknowledgement of gratitude. You are pushing the edges. You are pushing the edges so that all of us have a chance to realize why we're all here, to absolutely live an abundant life, a life of liberty, truth, and happiness. Thank you so much. And I hope that this entire experience will just be one of many. Thank you, guys.